Hey everybody, we wanted to make a short video on our new medic units. Shout out to LaPlante and Nathan Miller, Steve L, for taking all of your guys' information and requests and making them come to life. So let's get started. Okay everybody, this is our lighting control for the new medic unit, very similar to 1821 and 1822. In order to turn on the emergency master, if you're going to respond code 3, you just push this button right there. You can see the green light here and there. That lets you know that you have all of your lights all the way around. Now, if we go back to the home screen, there's an additional feature that we've added to this screen, and it's called 360 Scene. What this does is it turns on the scene lights all the way around the medic unit with the touch of one button. So this is very useful for a really dark neighborhood that you want to light up. If we go back to the lights panel, you can see right there, we have a couple other options. One is takedown. Takedown turns on your high beams and your light bar on the front of the medic unit so that you can spot addresses and see way out in front of you. And we'll show you what that looks like when we go around to the exterior, but a useful tool. That can also be turned on with the high beams, which is how I recommend turning that on, because it's just a lot easier access right here on your high beams control. Over here we have low cruise. What is low cruise? Low cruise is a steady burn. It's not quite as bright, so it makes it a lot easier for other units that are responding to the incident to not be blinded by your lights. That's our lighting control. Down here you can see the siren control. It's very similar to all our other medic units. As you can see, we have a new radio. This is our new dual band radio. It has VHF and 800. So while you're in urban, as you know, you can control through, and it's going to have your tactical and geographical stations, channels, and it also has 800. Now the only issue with 800 when we get there is that it does not have your geographical or your tactical channels. An advantage that it has is that it's much, much clearer. The good thing about it is that you can operate here, have a really good clear radio traffic, and then when you want, it's just a push of a button to go back to urban, which is going to be your VHF. So this would be down to the 800, this would be up. And these are the two buttons that you're going to use to jump through the different banks of radio stations. This is your channel changer. And yeah, it's just a really good radio. Just remember that you can control the channel up here for the front and back. Is actually one radio. It's not two separate. The one in the back is just a radio slave for the one in the front. As you guys can see, we have a little bit different setup with our warning lights. They're very well labeled. Right here, the red light obviously means that the suspension is lowered. We changed the open door light to blue just for it to stand out a little bit different than the red lights. And then you can see the shoreline is still plugged in. So if any of these lights are on, you have an issue, you should not pull away. On top of these lights up in the headboard, we still actually have a flashing red light for open compartments. So lots of different features in here to let you know that there's an issue and that you should not pull away. That's emergency master. That's takedown with a new light bar. That is cruise, which is steady burn and it's solid. It looks like it's flashing probably in the video. And that is 360 scene lights all the way around the medic unit. As you can see, the AC compressor got moved down in front of the medic unit. This is an improved performance, and this is actually the standard location. It also gave us a place to mount the light bar as well. Here's our new shower power mounts. They're located here to make it easier to unplug them when you're responding to a call, and then hopefully we won't forget that they're plugged in. It's also a little bit different plug. You got a 3-prong plug in there, so the old plugins will not work on these new ones. They do not have an auto ejector at all. They are strictly a manual plug-in. Right here's driver's one compartment. Up top is where we're going to keep the RTF gear while we're running this as a jump crew. In a year and a half, when all these become two-person medic crews, we're actually going to move it to D2 to get it at a lower position. This is also going to be the standard storage for our pediatric board, KED, and Sager. Over here, this compartment is completely redone. You'll see that there's no more kickouts here. And the nice thing about not having kickouts in this compartment is it's allowed us to mount the SCBAs back on the wall, which gives us a lot more capacity. We'll show you here in a moment with SCBA and turnouts in there. It's just got a lot of space. There's also a really cool feature here. So currently we have everything mounted to the actual tracks. These tracks can actually have an entire plate mounted to them so that we can mount anything we want in these compartments on the side and on the back. So there's just a lot of versatility to both the driver's side 2, and then we're going to show you here in a moment driver's 3. You'll see that there's only 2 SCBAs because we moved one of them back to driver's 3, again because we got rid of the notch outs that used to come into this compartment. And we also went to a much nicer irons mount in here that has access. Basically our goal, and this was from your guys' feedback, matter of fact all these changes are from your guys' feedback that you guys gave LaPlante and Miller, was to create more space and to not have things stacked on top of each other so that you can visibly open the doors, see what you have, and grab the tool that you need. You're also going to see there's a hook here that's going to be on both of these doors and one in driver's 3. This is where your helmet will hang, and then there's also going to be a mount down here for your bolt cutters, and over here there's going to be a mount for your fusees. So again, just open up this cabinet, allowing you to be able to see what you have and get the things much quicker. Back here in driver's 3, the big change is that you're going to have an SCBA. Again, there's going to be a lot of space for turnout pants at the bottom. Your jacket will go over the top of the SCBA, helmet mounted over here. So again, just getting everything out so you can see them. This side is what we're going to refer to as kind of the firefighting side. All of your firefighting gear, for the most part, is going to be located over on this side. The other side is going to become more of a medical side, with the exception of our tool compartment that we're going to see here in just a few moments. Back here, there's a couple changes. One is, and hopefully the scene lights aren't blinding you, it's right here in the middle. This is a blue LED light. The state law changed so that we could put this on the medic unit on the back, and it's just to give better visibility for oncoming traffic with that blue light up there. There's also a big request, could we do something different with the bumper? And we actually found a better solution for that. And that was, we found out there was still some adjustment that could be done with a power load. And so we moved it back more, so now when you pull the car out, the wheels will actually clear the bumper. And we found this out when we visited Lifeline the first time, so we've actually already made this improvement on our existing medic units. And then when we ordered these already have it pre-built into the medic unit. So just a nice feature there where we didn't have to modify the bumper at all to be able to get that caught out. Over here, just a small change. We added a shelf up here. This is where your radiological equipment's going to go. It's something we don't use a lot, so having it up out of the way is just a really nice feature, as well as to be able to access that from the inside. So that's really the only compartment. This one right here is what we call passenger 3. It's the rear one. This one, passenger 2. This right here, it's where we're going to keep our tools. So our tool bag will be in here, our jumper cables, as well as our life jackets and throw ropes. We thought it was really nice to be able to have the life jackets and throw ropes down here low, because this is something that we want to be able to get to and act quickly. We feel like RTX is usually a little bit slower roll, and we have time to actually climb up there and pull that stuff out. Again, it'll be in a much better location in the future, but for now we thought that was a good solution. Over in this compartment, there's just a few changes. One is this little cutout, which allows us to get power access down to the bottom if we need it. Currently, we don't have anything that's going to require power down there, but we didn't know what was going to come in the future. The Lucas device will be stored down here, which will now open this right here for the Zoll monitor. The Zoll monitor needs to either be stored right here in this compartment or in one of the 2 Technomounts, the one on the counter or the one on the stretcher. Up top here, you're going to have the Technomount arm when you're not using it. We want to make sure that people have that available to them, so we're not going to store it inside the station. This is going to be the home for it. And we just know there's a lot of people like to use them on Med-4s and breathing stoppages and respiratory rest, but they don't like them on all the calls. So again, we want to have that here available for. Another really good feature that we added is there's a ceramic coating on the windows, which will allow more temperature control and it's soundproofing. In addition to that, there is additional insulation for soundproofing and temperature control in the entire box, which is really going to help with the grip idle, controlling that temperature so it's not kicking the medic unit back on. There was a request to get a RV step right here on the man door. Fortunately, we found a better solution when we were back at Lifeline, and we found out that we can actually drop liquid suspension on all 4 shocks, and so that brings it down to a nice level to be able to step in. You just have to go to the back, dump the medic unit, and that'll bring the step down to a nice manageable level. Everybody can see that we went to a new cabinet door design. That's a much simpler design, single latch. It allows for a lot more visibility, a lot more light to get in there. And then we also made sure that we had it where it opens all the way to the top. That was one of the issues with the previous cabinet. It sat here at the mid-level and people were hitting their head. If at some point it's not going all the way to the top, let us know. We'll get that repaired at shops. You can see this is where the biggest change was over here on these cabinet doors that all changed. The other problem with the sliders, they didn't always slide, they jammed up, and when you open this side, it blocked that side. So going to this allows you to get access to both sides, lets the maximum amount of light in there, and just much simpler and easier to use. Over here, you've got the air intake for the furnace. Inside of there is a HEPA filter, which is currently on 18, 21, and 22. What's new for this year is that we've added a UV light on top of the HEPA filter. So really good filtration and much cleaner air throughout the patient compartment here. NARC ID, we're going to do a 2-phase launch. This first phase is going to basically operate exactly the way our current med vaults operate. It's even going to have the same pin number. And the second phase is when we'll launch all the automation that comes with that, and like everyone's expecting, we'll be going away from drug logs, which will be very, very nice. Moving along here, you can see the CPR seat. This is another thing that you guys wanted. You wanted a much longer CPR seat so that you gain better access to the patient's right arm, which also gave us more cabinet space underneath the CPR seat, as well as it gave us the ability to put compartments above the CPR seat. So a little bit more access to the patient and a lot more storage. So with the longer CPR seat, we had to change the drawer configuration. So you can see over here, there's no longer a drawer. Down low, below the big drawer, there's no longer a drawer. And we basically took all of that cubic feet and put it into one drawer. Because another request was, hey, we want a drawer that doesn't open up into the cot or into the patient, which this drawer accomplishes that. The other thing that we talked about earlier is these drawers were never really planned out as far as what kind of effect they had on the exterior cabinets. And so both of these drawers actually pushed into our exterior cabinets, cutting down the space and the ability to put the SCBAs up on the back wall. There was also the suction that used to be located over here as well, which also went into the exterior cabinet. The nice thing about over here is it's still in the same general area and it goes into a dead space. So it didn't take away any of our exterior compartment space. So trying to meet all of your guys' needs on those, so hopefully those all look like big improvements to you guys. Back here at the back of the medic unit, you'll see that we have a new clock. It's got really large digits so that you guys can actually use that as a true countdown when you're taking pulse, checking respirations, anything of that nature. I'll have a Lucky kind of rotate around here, and we're going to show you guys underneath the bench over here on the passenger side. So underneath the bench, we're actually going to have good mounts. So we're going to have a mount for both sides of the oxygen bottles as well as the nitrous. Another big improvement with this here is that we can put a second patient over here in an MCI. We wouldn't want to do that day to day, but if we have an MCI where we're having to transport a lot of patients, we can actually strap them down over here. We also wanted to make sure that you guys have really good access to Sharps containers. So we ended up with a Sharps container down here at the end of the bench, one over here at the head of the bench, and then one over here next to CPR. The good thing about them too is they're all full size, so they won't fill up. I know in the past we've had to use some small ones to make them work and fit in the spaces, but these are all full size. Garbages, we've made the access a lot better. It's no longer under a latch up here at the head. It'll be down located here next to the stairwell, as well as mounted on the back door next to